Hello there everybody, Fast Lego Studios here, and welcome back guys to week number 9 of building up the Lego life-sized Captain Rex sculpture. Let's jump right into it. Alright guys, and here we are at the beginning of week number 9, which may as well finish off the construction of Captain Rex's helmet. Gets me very excited for what is to come in this week's episode, but taking a closer look of what we'll be doing here is first off building up the back of the helmet significantly more. Getting that entire curve just curving its way over and attaching over to this area here. So just getting a lot more of that curvature of the dome complete, and taking a closer look over off on the sides. You guys can see that I've made a little bit of modification since last week's episode with lowering this tally mark Lego build by like about an entire Lego brick. I've noticed that there is a perfect lineup between this tally mark and this tally mark. So these two were on the exact same level, and so to prevent that from happening, I lowered it a slight little bit. Saw a little bit of an inconsistency there because there is no way a human is able to place a tally mark right the way on that side and right the way exactly horizontally across from it, place it right the way over here. I as well sculpted it to the exact form as this, and I didn't just take the one from that side and mirror it over onto this side. It's a completely redesigned version. But anyhow, what we have to get done as well is get the other tally marks right the way in place on the helmet. Get the other two sets of tally marks in place on either side, and then the next row of 3 going right the way above that. So plenty of details still to be incorporated into the build, and plenty of building on top of everything, and even on top of all of that, we still have to build up the central structure right the way in the center for the aluminum armature just a bit higher. We've really been building it up in the previous week's episodes as just building it up with more bricks and interlocking it as we go, but this week continuing all of that and potentially even finishing it off. We will be as well getting the rangefinder right the way over here in place as well, getting that tip of the build in place, the actual rangefinder, and finishing all of that off. So plenty of stuff to go in this week's episode, plenty of building. So without further ado guys, let's dive in to those progress updates right now. Alright guys, and diving right the way into the very first progress update of the week here, you guys can see that I've nearly completed the entire helmet. Still a little bit of height to go up here, getting the fin in place and the rest of the dome, but taking a closer look of what we've gotten done so far. First off, I've built up the jag eyes on either side of the build. Got those all in place, finished off, and even managed to build up a little bit more height beyond that. Getting more plates up there and getting that curved off a lot nicer. But then as we turn the build here, this is really where a lot of time and a lot of effort went into the build. You guys can see first off, I didn't really get the actual rangefinder in place yet, but soon enough will. But for now, taking the rangefinder off the build here and taking a closer look over at the tally marks, you guys can see that a lot of plates were used to build these up. This probably was the most challenging part of the entire helmet, integrating these Lego plates and tiles on their sides to build out each and every single one of these tally marks accordingly to how Captain Rex's helmet looks. And taking a closer look at them, you guys can see that we've gotten this one slightly above this one and slightly above this one. I really try to alter the pattern just a little bit and make it a little bit uneven in that sense and make it look a little bit sloppy. So that I've tried to capture there, and I think I've done a pretty good job. And just taking a step back and looking at the entire helmet here, you guys can see that it really nicely blends in with the rest of the build. So given the fact that this is all built out of plates, I'm really satisfied with how the end results turned out. and as well is just getting that hole nicely sculpted into the dome of the helmet. Took quite a bit of time to get everything just shaped correctly and accordingly, but I once again think it was a very worthy time of just building these up and attaching them into place. And to get these tally mark assemblies right the way into place, forgot to mention this in last week's episode, but to get these attached, what I've used here is a Lego lightsaber rod attached to one of these 1x1 plates that have a modified attachment to them, either a clip or one of these kind of knobs, I guess. But if we just pull one of these out, you guys can see that we've got the lightsaber hilt attached to one of these elements here, and then attached to the plate with clip. And then in the end, it makes a really nice connection there and just connects it right the way on the side. As a technique, it really does help out. And then if we just attach it right the way back into place, it works like a charm, and I've done that all the way throughout each and every single tally mark. And taking a closer look over onto the back of the helmet, you guys can see that I've got a lot more plates in place. This definitely turned out really nice as an end result. Got a really nice curve up here to make all of that work. A lot of plates were used to get this done, but getting this effect in place, really happy with how all of it turned out, and it definitely makes a really nice finisher to the entire helmet. And then taking a look over onto the fin, I've got the very beginnings of that all in place. Still a lot more to be built up here, just getting that entire fin built up from right here all the way curved over onto this side. But soon enough, hopefully by the end of this episode, we get that all built up, and then turning the build a slight bit more here, similar towards how I did on that side with all of the tally marks. I've done the very same here, getting even more plates all in place. This as well took quite a bit of time to get all of this built up, as this slightly differs from the other side. As you guys know, that side of the helmet, we have the tally marks being placed a slight bit lower to slight bit higher. Well, on this side of the helmet, it is rounded to being just at about all on one level. All of the tally marks just come out to being at about the very same level, and I've just mimicked it from the reference images that I had. And so taking a closer look at it, very same technique to get all of these in place, but a slightly different sculpt than the other side to get all of this built up and curved off. Really happy with how it turned out in the end. Took just as much time as I did with that side, getting a fresh new understanding of how all of these will be coming together. Once again, due to how these ones are on a slightly different level than the other side of tally marks. But once again, detail is everything here, and I've really tried to pull it off with all of these tally marks. And then right the way up here, you guys can see that I did have to compromise a little bit with this tally mark. Couldn't really get it right the way in place completely, simply because we have the Jaggi, and I didn't want to interfere it too much. Since we are dealing with Lego pieces here, you do have a little bit of just pixelating to do, and when you kind of pixelate a little bit of things here and there are some things that do accidentally mesh right about here. And as an example here, you guys can see we've got the tally mark meshing with the Jaggi. So that has to happen there, but still, nonetheless, if we just take a step back and look at the entire helmet, it still looks quite phenomenal. But then, as we take a look over onto the top of the build, you guys can see that I've finished off getting the entire armature all in place. I've not only finished off the entire structure going right the way inside there, but I've plated all of this off and bricked it all off as well. Getting all of that in place, solidifying this, and getting this really nice for the aluminum structure that's going to be running right the way up the helmet. This is just in case, all of this just reinforcing here is all just in case if the aluminum armature doesn't pop out the entire top of the helmet. I'm thinking ahead of plans here, just taking precautions and being very careful with what may happen. But that right there, guys, is all the progress that I've gotten for this update. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into the time lapse and perhaps even finish off the helmet of Captain Rex. Let's do this. Alright guys, and here we are after the time lapse, as I've gotten the remainder of the helmet all built up. All that is really left from this point forth, just to get the rangefinder right the way in place, and that will finish off the rest of the build. But taking a look at what we've gotten done here, you guys can see that I've finished off getting the plates just running its way over here, getting that all in place, making it look really nice and curved off. And then right the way beside that, we've got that fin that I was talking about earlier. I built that up and it looks, once again, really nice. I even tried to get that little bit of depth right the way in the center, which looks as well quite amazing. Alright guys, and I have gotten the very last sub-assembly of the build all attached. The rangefinder is finally all in place. Taking a closer look at it, you guys can see that it's mainly made up of these Lego slope elements to just make all the shapes just going right the way around it. And you guys can see that most of it is really nice and solid onto the build and has barely, if any, just rotation going right the way around. If this were to be attached right the way with just a simple pin, then it would just swivel around way too easily. So let me take this out and show you guys how I made it so there's an increase in friction for this part of the model to work. And the solution is quite simple. All you have to use is one of these 2x2 Lego plates with a pin molded right way into it, followed by a lightsaber piece, and then by a Technic pin. And then when you slide all of these elements together, it increases the friction and just makes the swivel point of the entire rangefinder significantly reduced. Coming in at over 4,000 pieces and weighing just about 5 pounds, I think we've made quite the model. But with all things considered, let's move out into the outro and finish off week number 9. And there you have it guys, week number 9 all complete. We have done it guys, we have finished off the entire Captain Rex helmet. A very big success that we have made in this week's episode, as we gotten that final finishing dome all in place. We've gotten that fin right the way up top in place, the rangefinder right the way off on the side, and for me personally most impressively, the tally marks and how they're integrated to the point where they're just following the curve of the entire build. Given the fact that they're placed on sideways, I did not really expect a result as good as this. And now, you guys are probably thinking, well, what is next? We have finished off the helmet. Well, two things. First off, if you guys would love to see the continuation of this entire Lego sculpture, once I hit 1K subs, then this life-sized Lego sculpture will be continued. This will notify me to where you guys would love to see the continuation of this guy and getting just such an epic sculpture built up in the Lego room. So if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel and this project will be returning to the channel. And the second thing is in the next week or so, I'll be announcing the very next mock that I've been meaning to build for over just 6 years at this point. It's quite crazy that I still haven't gotten to building it, but will be announced in the following weeks. So stay tuned till that. But with all things being considered guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and comment down below in the comment section of what are your guys' thoughts on this final version of Captain Rex's helmet. It looks quite spectacular in my opinion. I think we nailed the whole Legoland quality situation here and made it a very accurate interpretation of his helmet. But with all of that being said, keep on building, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.